Welcome to Formula Friday, your weekly Formula One show. I'm Nick. That's Lewis. Let's talk some wheel. How you doing, man? How's your week?
Not bad. It's just work and kids and life and stuff. A little bit of chess here and there. How about yourself?
Uh, Same minus the kids. I don't have any kids, but work, life, chess. I've been playing so much chess, and it's kind of been the story of the last couple weeks. But I sometimes I get very hyper focused on something, and chess is just that hyper focus right now. And I have tanked my score. So I've been playing a format. It's a 10-15 format. So you get or 15-10 format. You get 15 minutes at every move you make. You get an extra 10 seconds. And I'm doing that to try to get a little better at a more fast type of game. And I have tanked my elo so badly doing that. And I've been slowly crawling my way back up. I'm like 365 right now, 370 something. I'm getting there. It's just fundamentals, and I'm slowly but surely, hopefully, going to be 400 next week. So we'll see. I'm trying to play a couple games a day, analyze, and really lock into what I'm doing wrong. It's a lot. I'm doing a lot wrong.
Yeah. I mean, especially the people that we play. We play the mutual friend of ours. He's really good. Uh
He's
though I
somehow
don't want
really
to
good.
brag.
I've
I don't
just
want to brag. I did beat him in 16 moves.
Good job. I describe our friend playing chess as he doesn't play chess, he just kind of plays jazz on a chessboard. Because I've played him
Yeah.
before, and he's asked questions like, "Well, why did you do that? How does that work?" He doesn't have the quote unquote chess vision, but he doesn't need it because he's just naturally good at it. It bugs me to no end, and one of these days I'm going to beat him. I've made that a goal of mine.
Yeah. It's gotten to the point where every time I beat him, I send you a text just to be like, "Hey, I did it."
You sure do. Also, awkward transition. Last week, I can't believe we didn't see this. I didn't see this until after the next day after we had done this. Lewis and Charles did a chess match with each other in Azerbaijan, and they had a grandmaster watching them play.
Huh?
There's
Who ended
a
up winning?
I think Lewis ended up winning. Uh they Ferrari posted it on their socials, and Gotham Chess, a guy that I watch, he's a chess content creator. He's an IM rating. He likes to break down games, and I watched he did a video breaking down the game that Lewis and Charles played, and then Lewis and Charles, the collective Ferrari, played against the grandmaster that was watching the two play. And he did a
Yeah.
full breakdown of both of those games, and it is really entertaining just to say, "Oh, that's a good move. Charles made that move. Lewis made that move. That was a bad move. I don't know why he did that." It was cool to watch, but Formula One. There you go. That's the connection between chess and Formula One. Today, we're not talking
Yeah.
about Azerbaijan. We did that already. We're going to talk about Singapore, the Singapore Grand
Another
Prix.
street circuit.
Another street circuit, one that I like way less than Baku. Um, so full disclosure, I didn't have a chance to watch. I watched Q1, but I couldn't watch Q2 or Q3 because I had Saturday morning. So I watched Q1, maybe halfway through Q2, then I had to get out the door. So I didn't get to see the full thing of it. My fiance was very kind and watch it and send me kind of live updates. So that was very nice, but I I just didn't get to see it. I heard about all the stuff secondhand. She mentioned about how close they were all getting to the wall, which fair play. They were all getting very close to the wall. There was I think there was a couple wrecks here or there, but I don't fully remember. The biggest story to come out,
Which is
um,
pretty normal on a street circuit.
it is pretty normal in a street circuit. I think the biggest story to come out of it is Williams getting disqualified from qualifying due to something with their rear wing, I believe, but it didn't really seem to matter or affect them that much when it came to the race. So that's
Hmm.
whatever. And that's basically qualifying. That's all I got from qualifying. It's probably fine. There's probably nothing else crazy or insane that happened. Let's talk about the race.
Let's talk about it.
Dealing with that incredible lag again. It's my fault. My internet is
Oh,
weirdly laggy sometimes. It's on me. It's fine. So lap one, right away, George had an incredible start. George started pole. Lando did a very good job of forcing his way past Oscar, but in that process, Lando did mess up his front wing. And I want to say right away, we can talk about this more later. I want to get ahead of this now. I don't think Lando did anything wrong. It's probably a hot take. I don't know. But a lot of people are pointing out that Lando crashed into Oscar on his way trying to force up. But when I watched that replay, it looked like Lando had his elbows out. He was for sure racing aggressively, which is great to see out of him, by the way. He never does that. But I think he just fishtailed a little bit and then he bumped Oscar as a side effect. I don't think he was intentionally trying to ram Oscar into the wall, but that seems to be or feels like it's the narrative that is building. It's that, oh, Lando did this on purpose. Oh, Lando's the golden child. He's ignoring Papaya rules. They're racing.
I
Lando
don't.
raced.
Yeah,
That's all there is in my head.
honestly, I don't think there's much of an issue with his move. I personally really enjoyed it because I don't know. I grew up a V carb Red Bull fan, so it's like I'm saw Max and Danny Rick fight and everything. I thought it was just a good battle. If it wasn't teammates, it would be a good fight no matter what, whoever it was. If that was Max on Lewis, that would have been a good pass. And
Mhm.
I personally think it was a good move.
The annoying thing about that move is I feel like it set the tone for the rest of the race right away on lap one, because then you had Oscar kind of pouting about things the whole time. The next lap, Oscar went on the radio, said that's not very team like. But I think what it really is the McLarens are just free to race now. We've talked about it before. That's Zach Brown's management style with this team. They locked up the constructors championship. We knew this was going to happen. We knew the second they locked up the constructors, they were just going to be able to race each other, and this is just what happened. And Lando, Oscar wasn't expecting Lando to drive aggressively because Lando usually doesn't, but the championship's on the line. Of course, Lando's going to get his elbows out
Yeah.
a bit more.
I mean, out of all people, like you get your elbows out, especially with your championship rival. And in this case, it happens to be a teammate. I like I said, I wouldn't expect anything different from Max on Lewis or any battle.
I wouldn't expect anything different from Oscar. If the roles were reversed, I think Oscar would have done the exact same thing, which is
Yeah.
what bugs me the most about him complaining about it because he would have done that too. It's so annoying.
Yeah, I had this note like a couple weeks ago, and like it just wouldn't made it into the show. But there's just a question I've had: do F1 drivers complain way too much? Like every little thing that goes wrong, it's and then they're on the radio to like, hey, he did this, so like get the stewards to look at it is essentially what they're doing. But
Mhm.
there's just gets to a point, in my opinion, that there is just a lot going on there. Oh, it comes with this narrative that like these are rich boy drivers. Like, ooh, he touched me. But like, I don't know. It comes off wrong.
That's fair. And that is the other weird thing about it. Your adrenaline is so high in the moment in the racing. Every driver is going to complain and, pardon my language, bitch and moan about every little thing they can to get some slight advantage. And 9 times out of 10, I'm not sure it actually makes a difference anyway. And you just have the team principals up there like, yep, yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Oh, and then they just say, oh, yep, we'll for sure look into that. They won't. But at that moment, you just kind of have to manage the temper of the driver because if they're driving angry, that's when mistakes start to happen. And I think they were doing their best to temper Oscar. But I think in this race, we started to see a side of Oscar that nobody has seen all season where he's starting to crack a little bit, just as far as
Yeah.
his emotions go. He's starting to show them a little
Yeah.
more.
I kind of noted that after Baku when he like crashed. It's like, is the pressure getting to him? Like being a Formula One champion. Is it that? And then it's the calm, cool collective just isn't working anymore. So it's I don't know. I think the pressure might be getting to him or something.
I think it is a little bit of the pressure getting to him, and then I think a lot of it too is the two number one driver at McLaren thing getting to him. I think he is starting to maybe feel a little, rightfully so, entitled. Because, I mean, Oscar's an incredible driver. Nobody's denying that. I'm not going to deny that. He's a great driver. And if he was on any other team, he would be the number one. But McLaren is trying this brave new frontier of driver management. And I think it's finally just starting to wear on him, especially after the last couple weeks.
Yeah, I can see that. And is it he's getting frustrated with competition and the what do I want to say, the pressure of being a Formula One champion, or is he getting kind of frustrated with McLaren being like, I should be the number one?
I think it could be column A, column B. I think I think it's less the pressure of the championship because he reminds me a lot of Max, where he just is arguably the most calm, feels the most calm behind a wheel. I think a lot of his frustration is stemming from McLaren and the management and how everything is. And I'm sure Mark Webber's in his ear too, just being the devil on his
Yeah,
shoulder about things because you know how Mark Webber was.
I mean, yeah, that is very true. Mark Webber was very outspoken.
Which is not a bad. That's he's Oscar's manager. He should be. He should be fighting. It's his
Yeah,
job to fight for the driver. It's just you can see where it's gonna start conflicting when it comes to McLaren and their management style versus Weber's management style.
yeah, and I don't know. It could this could possibly put tension into like contract negotiations and everything too.
I'm sure it will. Like we talked about last week when I kind of brought up that a hypothetical of Oscar going to Ferrari, that might be a little closer to reality than anybody had thought about this time last week. So I guess we'll have to keep an eye on it. I'm hearing
Yeah,
rumblings.
it's weird. Yeah, it's weird. But I'm starting to I'm starting to buy more and more into that
Hmm.
theory.
So moving on, just other highlights of the race. Around lap 10. How many laps were in this race again? 63? 62? Lap 10, Max started complaining about the downshifting in the car again. This isn't the first time this season he's complained about the downshifting. Max is in second place at this point.
Yeah. It's weird that like i- you've seen the movie that's about, oh my goodness, I am forgetting names right now. Um Ferrari driver caught on fire at the Nordschleife.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rush.
I can't think of the Rush, thank you. Where he's like, I just got a gifted behind
Hmm.
and I can just tell anything that's wrong. And I think Max is that way. I think the shift could have been just like a slight second off.
Hmm.
And that's for him, that's completely out of this world crazy. Because he's in second. It's not like he was dropping down.
Yes, but the other thing we have to remember too is Max is a god when it comes to racing a Formula One car. And very well something could have been catastrophically wrong with that, and he would still find a way to get it across. The only thing that I think would ever
Yeah.
stop Max from driving a car is if it blew up or if Lewis hit him at Silverstone. Sorry, or if
Too soon?
yeah, too soon. Um, yeah, that's I just lap 10 that he was already finding or talking about that and complaining about that, and the fact that he was still able, spoilers, to pull that car to finish in second. Again, I what else can you say about Max other than he's really good? Max drive car fast.
Yeah, and it's not even just Formula One. He drove car fast at GT3. He
That's
drive
true.
car fast in virtual.
A couple laps later, lap 14, Gabriel Bortoleto came in to the pits for hard tires. So did Yuki. Both of them got hard tires,
Yeah,
and Gabby got a new front wing.
and Gabby got a new front wing.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
Couple laps later, McLaren tried to dupe Red Bull with the undercut, but that didn't work. And they did it in a very obvious bad way. I it must have been the word there because I watched the Sky Sports broadcast. and they played the radio message, and I don't remember what the exact wording was, but it was the way they worded it was really weird, and they word it that way is kind of, I guess, in my head, in my opinion, they word that message about coming into the pits in that specific way as code to tell them not to do it. And I think Red Bull just picked up on it because it even got to the point where all the McLaren pit crew were out and they had the tires and they're ready to go. And Red Bull just called the bluff and wasn't even phased.
That's crazy. Yeah. I noticed that, but at the same point, I feel like we're seeing a lot of duping or try to dupe or the that type of pit stops. Like, oh, the mechanics are out, they're gonna pit. Oh, nope, never mind.
It's turned into the pit
So
strategy
is that just part of the
strategy.
game of Formula One?
Yeah, it's turned into the meta
Yeah.
game of pit strategy of Formula One. It just adds another layer, and it's awesome. And it's really funny when it doesn't, so I'm okay with it. Let's see. Max came in on lap 19. He went from P2 to P7 with a slowish pit stop. McLaren should have actually, when they duped, that's when McLaren actually should have just come in. They shouldn't have tried to dupe. They should have just come in because they would have got the undercut. And I think Red Bull also did that on purpose too, just to kind of rub salt into the wound.
Yeah, and it's weird that like they try to dupe him into pit when Max started on softs. He
Hmm.
was going to pit early.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking. I
So
really
I
don't
don't
know
get
what they were
that.
thinking. Isaac
Maybe they were
Pitt,
just practicing pit stops so they're faster at their pit stops.
maybe we can talk more about that too. Isaac Pitt, he had a 2.4-second stop on lap 21. Charles, lap 22, dropped to P9. That was 2.4. We've had a lot of 2.4, 2.5-second pit stops in this race. It kind of seemed like a theme. Lewis pit on lap 25. Uh, it was a slowish stop. George Russell, the race leader, he was racing the entire race, came in on lap 26, had a 2.5-second stop, but only dropped to P3. They did a double stack with Kimmy. Kimmy had a 2.4-second stop. It was incredible. I feel like more often than not, we don't see a good double stack pit stop. And then around that time, also another point of contention, McLaren asked Lando if he'd want Oscar to pit first, and Lando said, "Yeah, no." Um, Lando has that championship mindset, and I appreciate that they asked Lando to if he wanted to pit first or if Oscar wanted to pit first. I think Lando's just haunted from second pit stops past where they're always somehow 40,000 seconds long. And in this moment, they let Lando dictate it. And that is an argument I can see about McLaren maybe treating Lando a little better than Oscar. Because if they are supposed to be racing and have their own strategy, then why are they asking Lando when to let Oscar pit?
Okay, I didn't think about that. Yeah, that makes sense.
It it's a very fair argument. I could see Oscar being upset by that. If McLaren really wanted to do this, they would have just told Oscar to go in and it would have ended differently. So the fact that they asked Lando is a little it's a little sus to the point where they're both number one driver allegations, but maybe it was also a make good for something else that happened where Oscar got a better shake than Lando did. But Oscar did
Yeah.
come in for the second pit stop. Lando was 2.1 seconds, by the way. Oscar's 5.2. I this time it was the left rear tire. I don't excuse me. I don't know what's happening anymore because I know I speculated before that it could be with Lando's suspension, he's got a different one than Oscar, then that might be screwing things up, but McLaren has tried to say that it's something a problem with their wheel guns, which buy new wheel guns. I don't. You can
Yeah,
afford new wheel guns. I don't think blame. So I don't think it's a wheel gun issue, is what I'm saying. I think that there's something else happening there, and McLaren is just trying to joke it off. Oh, wheel guns. Oh, it's just our wheel guns. It's weird, but the fact that this always happens on the second pit stop when it's because Oscar and Lando pit relatively close to each other. So I don't know if they need a few more laps just to kind of reset and get their crap together before they bring in the second car or
Yeah.
what, but it is turning into a massive problem. I mean, it's been a massive problem, but it is clearly it shows that it's a pit problem. It's a problem with the crew or their process and not a problem with Lando's car or Oscar's car at this point.
If they try to blame the wheel guns, isn't that stuff like homologated? Like, doesn't every team have that? The same equipment?
Yeah.
I would assume so.
Yeah. It's a really weird thing to lay the blame on.
It's so weird. It's
Mhm.
That's almost like a football player just not catching a pass and like, "Oh, it was my cleats."
So also around lap 28 when Oscar came in, Fernando Alonso had a problem in the pit. He was in there forever. Isaac started to complain about engine issues in the V carb around lap 28 as well. Eventually, after all of the pit stuff happened, Russell's back in P1 and he stays there for the rest of the race. Alonso is also fighting for his life around this time too. He had a radio message. If you talk to me every lap, I will disconnect the radio because Aston Martin just kept was in his ear, and I think he just wanted to lock in and race.
And it's one of the peak Fernando Alonso moments. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Uh, Max slowly gaining on George. Lando is just behind him. They start to get into lap traffic, which helps Lando stay ahead of Oscar because Oscar's just in fourth, right behind him. Stroll, by the way, on lap 36, Stroll had been on soft tires for 36 laps. Lance Stroll hadn't pit yet by lap 36. He was also backing up the rest of the pack, which in turn helped Fernando gain positions. Not only was Stroll being an
Hmm.
incredible teammate, this is the first time since Monaco I've seen this strategy used effectively. It was kind of awesome in a really annoying way.
Is that so? That is a good strategy. Is that just a sign of these cars are too big for these tracks?
I think that's some of it. I think that is some of it for sure. Obviously, this was the only strategy in Monaco this year. I kind of liked it. It sucked, but it was creative. I like the creativity of it. But the only reason they really did it in
Yeah.
Monaco is to try to get around the mandatory 2 pit stops. I think Aston just used that strategy here to get Fernando back up after that really bad pit stop. It felt very much like a doomsday scenario situation. Plan, I don't want to say C for chaos, but it was plan back everybody up. Lance, just don't come in. Stay on the soft tires for as long as you need to until until Fernando's in a comfortable place.
I mean, out of all drivers, Stroll's the perfect one to execute that strategy.
He is. And by the way, Stroll was in P9 while doing that whole thing. He finally pit around lap 40 and he went from P9 to P20.
Yeah, I think it's these cars are too big for these small tracks because that strategy wouldn't work at any like a Silverstone or uh Monza Red Bull Ring or any of those. Okay, maybe Monza with the DRS train, but still.
No, you're right. It is a problem. And remember, next season the cars are gonna be a little
I
smaller.
forget. New car.
A
New
little
car next
small,
season.
little tiny bit smaller. Surely that'll help get past people on these very narrow tracks. Lance wasn't in 20th for long though, because Hulkenberg spun out into a runoff area and he ended up dropping to P20. Lap 46, Lewis came in again for softs, but the gap behind him was so wide, he didn't lose any positions. Lewis, when Lewis came into the pits, there was a 50-second gap behind Lewis Hamilton.
That's insane.
Uh-huh. Carlos hadn't pit by lap 49, by the way. Then by lap 51, Carlos did pit. He went from P9 to P15. Kimi passed Charles Leclerc, which is great. I'm so glad that Kimi Antonelli is finding his groove back. He has seemingly got back on track, so to speak. No pun intended. Since Canada. And it sucks that he had that weird dip in the middle of the season, but it feels like for the final stretch of this season, he's starting to get his crap together again.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's he's doing a lot better now.
Hmm. Then around lap 60 of 62, Lewis lost his brakes completely. And at this point, Fernando was right behind Lewis and he was gaining on him, and Lewis just could not use his brakes at all. So he was essentially coasting in and corner cutting, which feels like it should be a bigger story than it was because he had to not go into the wall, so I get it. But it's interesting that he didn't get penalized for it, even though he should not have been on the tricks that didn't work. It's
Yeah,
shocking to me that he didn't get black flagged for that. It's shocking to me that he didn't get penalized for all the corner cutting he did to try to stay on the track. And it's shocking to me that he was still able to hold off Fernando Alonso despite all of that. I would have loved to have seen that battle though. Don't you wish that the camera would have shown them battle that last few laps of
Uh,
Fernando and Lewis?
yeah, it's one of those situations. Yeah,
Hmm. But after everything,
I feel
George
like
won
the
the
director is
race.
watching a different race
Yeah,
than us.
George won the race. Max got second, Lando third. And because of that finish, McLaren got the Constructors' Championship. Hamilton barely held off Alonso for P7. There were no safety cars. This is the first time in history that there hasn't been a DNF at this race. It's the first Merc win in Singapore since 2018. And Carlos Sainz managed to finish 10th to get points again for Williams. What a race!
It wasn't a bad race. It wasn't as horrible as I thought it would be, but it wasn't horrible. It wasn't great. Not great, not terrible. I think is the phrase.
It was a very fine race overall. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It's not an all timer. It was a race. Out of all the races that have raced, it was a race.
Yes, I agree.
Now, shall we give our driver ratings?
Ooh, yes, I think we shall.
Okay, so we will just go in finish order for the driver ratings. I will let you go first.
So starting off with Russell, he finished P1. He also started P1. Great race. Didn't really do anything wrong. Never lost a position. I gave him a 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
It's another George race. I mean, he's good.
I also gave George a 10 out of 10. He win from pole. That's he win from pole. That's good. That's very good. Plus he got pole, which is also incredible. I love George Russell.
Me too. I really I don't know. It's weird to have not a huge like I don't dislike him or whatever. It's just he's a great racer.
Mhm.
It's weird how I feel about him.
He's extremely solid, and that I think is the best possible way to describe George Russell. He's just extremely solid. Next up,
I agree.
Max Verstappen. I gave him a 9 out of 10. He did a really good job holding off Lando, especially with the car where the gear shifting was bad.
Yeah, I gave him a 8 out of 10. I think it was a great good race from him. Not a whole lot of moves to be made, but he did a good job holding off Lando. So
Mhm.
I gave him an 8 out of 10. Pretty solid.
Lando, I gave a
And
9
speaking of
out of 10.
good,
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, speaking of, I gave him a 9 out of 10 as well. And but I was gonna give him an 8 out of 10 for a decent race, not a whole lot to do besides the first. But I gave him one extra point for that aggressive move at the beginning because that was amazing.
That's exactly what I did too. He did such a good job maintaining where he was, not letting the pressure of Oscar looming behind him get to him. And that overtake, that is I want more of that from Lando. I really do. I love when Lando and it's a double-sided so I'm sure Lando hates to do it because everybody hates Lando and it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. He finally races aggressive. Oh, he sucks. He doesn't race aggressive enough. Oh, he sucks. He's never going to be a champion. Lando gets very unfairly judged, and I think that this was a very good thing for Lando to do. And I'm saying this fully acknowledging that I am a Lando fan, but it's nice. It's nice to see this.
Yeah, I was very happy to see that move, and I like I said, even if it wasn't his teammate, it was a great move.
Mm-hmm. His teammate, speaking of Oscar, I gave a 7 out of 10. He had a fine race, and some of it was influenced by the pit decision, but he just couldn't make a pass stick. And I think what happened at the beginning of the race kind of stuck in his head a bit. And I think it really held him back from giving it his all.
Yeah, I gave him 8 out of 10 because I felt like it was a great race. But like nothing too noteworthy. Yeah, that move that Lando did to him, it wasn't his fault for not defending. It was a good move, and I don't think he should be penalized for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it penalized in the vibe rankings that we have.
Yeah, that's fair. My next vibe ranking is Kimi Antonelli. I gave him a 9 out of 10. Fantastic race from Kimi. He's back. I think Kimi is going to be fine for the rest of the season. And as much as I love Isaac and I want him to get the rookie of the season, I think it might have to end up being Kimi, especially if he keeps up this kind of form. Because my God, that kid is special. That kid is incredible, and he's going to do amazing things.
It's he's you can't even just say it's a car either. Like he's the best rookie and the best car, blah blah blah. He's doing a hell of a job.
He really is. He is the best rookie
I
out there right now.
see. Then I am the V carb fan where I'm like, you have Isaac taking a V carb to points, except for not
Listen,
here.
I love Isaac too. You know I love Isaac, but I think Kimi in this class of rookies is the better driver. I do.
I mean, you're not wrong in the points in the stats wise, but vibes, I'm going to give it to Isaac.
I do like Isaac's vibes a little better. Charles Leclerc, he finished sixth. I gave him a 7. He raced. He legally was there.
Yeah. I gave Charles Leclerc a 7 out of 10 as well, and pretty much my notes were the same. He moved up from qualifying, I believe, was what I had. I just want to make double sure. It's been a week. Double check to make sure that is the correct thing. But yeah, I mean, he did a decent job. I shouldn't penalize him for it, but yeah.
Fernando Alonso, we've talked about this a little
yeah.
bit already, but I gave him a 10 out of 10. He was able to come back from a terrible pit stop and finish in the points. And now that I think about it, as I didn't think about it until earlier when I said it, I think Lance Stroll helped him. And I think that it's the first time I've really seen Lance Stroll do a cool teammate thing. I'd like to think that was on purpose anyway, because why else would they keep him out on soft tires for 36 laps? It was awesome watching Fernando just have the flash of his former self out there, you know? He gets catty about it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm doing the first ever. I believe I have never done this, and I give him 11 out of 10.
Oh, this
I
will go
still
up to
we still
11.
it's vintage of Fernando, kind of what you said. Even
Mhm.
going to the fucking sorry,
You're good.
radio. Just so excited about Fernando. I mean, it's peak Fernando. We saw it again. He somehow landed in Singapore, went through time travel, and aged backwards 20 years again.
And can we just appreciate the fact that the very last lap of the race came down to Alonso, Fernando fighting Lewis, and him getting annoyed at Lewis because he couldn't get past Lewis, and Lewis was driving kind of wild. That is some classic
Yes,
F1 BS. I love it so much.
and those two you were teammates. There's that whole like thing with the
History.
slow pit stop. Yeah,
Mhm.
he like I said, he went through a portal and took 20 years off his life somehow. He's 44. Let's not forget. He is
Mhm.
44 years old. And he scored what, P7 today?
Yeah.
Or Sunday? Yeah. He's 44.
P8,
I just can't believe this. Sorry.
you're good. P8, Lewis Hamilton. Okay, so maybe he didn't hold him off. There was probably, you know what? Probably penalties and stuff. I don't know. Either way, Lewis Hamilton, eighth, kind of sucked, but he did what he could with the brakes and the Ferrari. So there's that.
Yeah, I give him a 7, and I'm like, good race. Sucks that his brakes broke.
Yeah, it does suck that his brakes broke.
Yes, the brakes breaking is not a good thing to break in a car that you need to break in.
You don't need brakes. All they do is slow you down. Okay, I would like to make a complete correction to everything that I've set up into this point. Lewis Hamilton was penalized 5 seconds for crossing track limits, which is why Fernando jumped ahead of him, even though Lewis held him off. So ignore every complaint and thing that I said about Lewis and Fernando up until right now. I was wrong. I didn't see the little note at the bottom of the final results because I'm blind despite having glasses.
Hey, you and me both.
Hmm. Uh, Ollie Behrman. I gave him an 8 out of 10. Um, he finished in the points in a Haas and he beat out his way more experienced teammate. That's an 8 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I gave him a 9 out of 10. Granted, I think he's raced here in like Formula 2 and stuff, but this is first time here in this car. Like in
Mhm.
the hospital, was he here last year?
No.
I'm
He
Yeah, I didn't
did
think
stuff
so.
with Ferrari last year. Just a few races.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if he practiced or did uh FP1 here or not last year. But anyways, yeah, I mean that's really good.
It's not bad. 10th place, Carlos Sainz. I gave him a 10 out of 10 because he went from 18th to 10th in a Williams. Welcome back, Carlos Sainz. We missed you. This is awesome. I love seeing Carlos be successful in a new team. I love seeing him be successful. But in a Williams, it's oof. I'm getting choked up. It it's incredible. I love seeing him here.
I gave him a 9 out of 10. It's my note is 18th the points. Williams are going to be deadly, and this goes off my theory. Williams are going to be so good.
New
I mean, they're already
regulations.
good, but like they're you know, I keep on forgetting new regulations.
We don't know anything. We have to check each other, otherwise nobody else will. Sorry, Lewis.
That's fine.
Uh, Isaac Hadjar finished just outside of the points in 11th. I gave him a 7 out of 10. He did a pretty good job, but ultimately he couldn't make the points. And if he would have, I would have given him an 8. But he did what he could.
Even without scoring points, I still gave him an 8. He finished 11th with the engine that I put was poop,
Mhm.
and my note also says, please do not get demoted. I don't. He's doing so good there. I don't want this.
Oh, but doing good in
I think
VCARB
this
means
is
you're
perfect
going to
for.
Red Bull. Ooh,
Yeah,
it's spooky
it's
season.
spooky.
Spook.
That is my nightmare. I wake up from.
Cold sweats.
Oh God, Isaac was in Red Bull.
Yuki Tsunoda finished 12th. I gave him an 8 out of 10. Would have been a 7, but he gets the Red Bull tax of +1. So, Red Bull
Mm,
bonus, I guess, not a tax. I think Yuki's starting to
mm.
drive this car a lot better. And it goes back to what I mentioned last week, where I think he is trying to race for his resume right now. He just feels a little better overall in this Red Bull, this terrible, terrible, crappy Red Bull.
I gave him a 6 out of 10. Mostly, you give him a plus for the taxing. I give him a minus for the max tax
The max
because
tax.
the car is not good, and I feel like that you should still have a better shot of driving it. If Max can drive it, you can drive it in a weird way. If the car's not good, then both of you should be bad, right?
I don't subscribe to that specifically because Max is Max, and Yuki is not Max. And no matter what teammate Max has, you can't hold them at the same standard. This is one of those rare situations where you can't compare whatever teammate Max has to him because Max is ungodly. It's
Uh,
you just can't do
so
it.
you don't subscribe to the Max tax?
No, I don't subscribe to the Max tax. I'm sorry. It's fun though. It sounds fun. I like saying it. The
I
Max
know it
tax.
sounds so good.
Lance Stroll, he finished 13th. I gave him an 8 out of 10. I'm going to count this as a Stroll showing up race. And my original note was he didn't race super well, but after thinking about it with the Fernando thing, I mean, he's still getting an 8 out of 10 for me. So good job, Stroll. Also, 36 laps on the softs. Nobody's talking about that as much as I feel like they should be. And I feel like I'm crazy for thinking that that's incredible.
Yeah, I that is a long time. That's very Albon esque. But again, this track's kind of hard to pass, so you can just drive slow. And what are they going to do? Pass you where?
Yeah, that's fair. Um,
I gave him a 7 out of 10 there.
fair enough.
And
That's
then
fair.
Albon, I gave a 6 out of 10. And I put for my
Oof.
notes, to be honest, I don't know what I was expecting, but I just maybe my expectations were too high there.
Yeah, you're right. I I gave him an 8 initially and I don't know why. I have no idea why I gave him an 8. It is either a typo or I made an argument for it. But you're right. I'm going to agree with you and copy your score of a 6. He tried his best, but did he even really try his best? He eh.
Yeah.
Liam Lawson finished 15th. I gave him a 7 out of 10, but he was again beat by Hadjar, but not by much, but still beat by his teammate.
Yeah, I gave him a 5 out of 10 for kind of the same reasons. Max tax or Isaac tax. I don't know. You're still finishing behind your
It's a
teammate.
little
Like the
early in his
teammate.
career to give Isaac his own tax bracket.
Yeah,
Let's just
I don't
chill out a bit.
Hey,
I
I'm
like him
all
too,
in on
but
Isaac.
calm down.
No, but for real, I think just finishing behind Isaac again, like, yeah, he had a good was Baku, but like again, he has to show back up, and I wanted to be closer. If he's gonna finish behind him, finish one spot behind him.
Mhm. I Franco Colapinto, he finished 16th. I gave him a 7 out of 10. He didn't wreck the car. Good job,
Hey, good
Colapinto.
job.
You finished the race.
It's kind of how we felt about like what was it, Mick? Hey, you didn't wreck the car.
It sucks that the bar is so low for him, but it's a bar.
It is a bar.
Mm.
But Colapinto, I mistakenly gave him a 6. I'm sure that meant to be a 4 there.
Oof.
Uh, I I don't know. I have this for my Pierre Gasly notes later on. Spoilers. I'm just going to start minusing one from all Alpines unless they start actually
Oh,
racing.
no, Alpine tax.
The Alpines getting their own like bad
Oof.
tax. It's not good. Like they need to start paying extra to be here. In
Oof.
my vibes, they're not vibing.
Alpine is for sure the worst vibes team of this season and a little bit last season too.
Which is weird because they have the best looking driver, and I will die on that hill. Pierre is the best looking driver on the team or on the
Yeah.
grid. So,
He's not as good looking as this next driver who finished 17th, Gabriel
ooh,
Bortoleto. He did what he could in the Sauber, but it's a disappointing finish, especially because we know what he's capable of. He did manage to beat Hulk though, so that's cool. I wonder if the good results from Sauber at the beginning of the season was more they had upgrades and then they stopped doing upgrades to prep for next season, and the other teams have just caught up, and now they've just kind of shuffled down to where they need to be, where they're supposed to be.
yeah. Oh, maybe they, stop development and maybe they'll finish lower and they'll get more CFD.
Maybe. Would you give
Uh,
Gabby?
I got, I gave him a 4. Started 14th, ended 18th. Ewies or an 18th. Oh my
Ewies.
goodness, my math. Yeah,
Ewies.
so for 7 Ewies.
That's fair. That's really fair. I'm just a little. I like him a lot.
Hmm.
I like a lot of
Uh,
these rookies. It's essentially I like every rookie except Liam Lawson. That's about it.
okay.
He just rubs me the
Is
wrong way.
I don't like how Liam is a rookie. He raced last year. Granted, it wasn't.
It's a threshold, is what it is. It's a threshold.
Yeah, it's kind of like baseball. Their
Yeah, it's
threshold
exactly
was
like
weird
I think
too.
it. I mean, not exactly, but it is pretty much like baseball.
Yeah.
Esteban Ocon finished 18th. I gave him a 5 out of 10. He's an experienced driver who couldn't get into the points in the same car as his rookie teammate, and that is extremely damning of Esteban. Yeah, he's not at Alpine anymore, but what's he doing here?
Yeah. I gave him a 4 out of 10. I kind of have the same notes. Rookie teammate beat him. Looks like he was driving that line again. That's literally my notes.
Hmm.
It's to the point where I was doing the Alpine tax and I almost gave it to him just because I was like, oh yeah, he doesn't drive there anymore. Oh, but he looks like it.
You never want.
I gave him a 3 out of 10,
Hmm.
and it's partially because of the minus. I gave him a 3 out of 10,
Hmm.
and it's partially because of the -1 Alpine tax.
We love the Alpine tax. Thank you, Alpine tax. Finally, Nico Ulkenberg. I gave him a 3 out of 10. He finished 20th. Same kind of situation as Gabriel. He's way more experienced than a lot of the other drivers on the field, and he finished last. And a lot of it is the Sauber, but yikes.
Yeah, I gave him a 2 out of 10. Partially because of just it was uh I don't know how to put it. He besides the spin, you would kind of forget that he was there.
Hmm. And those are our driver ratings. Let's move on to our predictions and grid gamble. Let's start with our predictions, shall we? So,
Okay.
for our predictions, we give three total. We do two regular predictions, and then we give one bold prediction. So, I'll let you start, Lewis. What was your first regular prediction?
My regular prediction, which was V carb double points, and felt really confident going into this, especially at the Baku in the street circuit. They were good, and not only did they not get double points, they got no points.
They did indeed get no points, but it wasn't that far off. It was a pretty decent prediction by all accounts.
Yeah. What about you? What was your prediction? I about did the same thing you did.
My first prediction is Yuki in the points, which I was kind of riding the same high that you were riding, but with Yuki in a way where I felt like he was finally getting to terms with this car and that he was going to get into the top 10. It didn't happen.
Hmm. Uh, my next prediction, car that starts on pole finishes first.
Nailed
Which
it.
it sounds like it sounds like a broken Ferrari like saying, but that was my prediction and I was there. Yeah, I got it right on the head.
You're right. Mine was that Danny Rick's lap time will be broken. Danny Rick set the lap record for this race last season in his last season in Formula One. And I am pretty sure that George broke that record.
He did.
R.I.P. Danny Rick.
Uh, yeah, well, he's still there in spirit.
He is still there in spirit. And finally, what is your bold prediction?
So going into this, I was super excited. I super thought this track out of all tracks, this one driver could hold on to the tires long. He could be the good and do really good. I predicted Albon top five. And not only did he not get top five, he didn't finish in points.
No, no, he did not. And my bold prediction
Yeah.
wasn't any better. I was under the impression that this race was going to be wet, and it was, but like an hour or two before the actual race started.
Yeah.
And in that thought process, I thought that Lance Stroll was going to do really well because what does Lance Stroll do when it rains? Somehow turns into Senna. But it didn't happen. And as incredible as Lance Stroll, again, going 36 laps on soft tires and staying in the top 10 was, he did not remain in the top 10 after he ended up eventually pitting. So once again, Lewis, you and I have tied on our predictions.
It's what we do. And also, I just want to point out the our predictions that deal with drivers. I don't know if you noticed this. We're the first one, two, three, four, five drivers outside the points. Is there a Formula Friday curse?
Wow. You know what? There might be a Formula Friday curse. I did say that Charles was going to get the pole in Baku, and then he wrecked in the one place that he always seems to wreck. I think I might have done that to Charles. Whoops. Whoopsie.
Oh, okay. Lando and Oscar are doing going to do really good next race.
Mm, messed up. Those were our predictions. Moving on to Grid Gamble. Grid Gamble is our game where, of course, each driver is assigned a number 1 through 20, and then I roll a 20-sided dice. Whoever rolls that number is the driver that you adopt for the race, and then wherever they finish, you get their points for the race. Totals right now, I'm at 29. Lewis is at 5. Last week, Lewis rolled Lance Stroll and also said if he finished in the
Yay.
points, he was going to buy a Lance Stroll hat. So, congrats on being saved from that, I guess.
Thank you. I totally forgot about till I
Uh huh.
saw who I had. I'm like, oh goodness.
And I
Oh,
had rolled Lewis Hamilton, which felt like a really good pick in the moment, but after the penalty and everything, Lewis only got 4 points. So again, the current
I
totals are 29 to 5 with 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 races left. So still anybody's
hey,
game.
like Max Verstappen. Yep, like Max Verstappen. I still can get this.
You still can get this. And that was Singapore. Do you have any lingering final thoughts of this race before we move on to a couple news things? Quick.
I do not. It was like we've said, it was a race. That was a race.
Yeah, it was fine. Okay, news wise, the very first thing I want to bring up is today, right now, October 8th, is the 25th anniversary of Michael Schumacher bringing the first Ferrari championship as as a Ferrari driver. First Ferrari championship in years. That happened at Suzuka. It was a rain race, 53 laps. That's all. It's just we got to celebrate it. Thank you, Michael Schumacher. Cool. Next bit of news. George Russell contract negotiation. There is essentially what I've heard is George is unhappy that it seems like Mercedes wants such a short-term contract for him, and George obviously wants something a bit more concrete and guaranteed. And it's just basically breaking down because of that. They're just kind of stalemated. Now I also have seen news to expect an official announcement of a George Russell extension, but I don't understand why Mercedes is being so weird about this unless they're trying to keep the door open for somebody like Charles in 2027 or Max, which feels like a weird gamble that I would not honestly bet on if I was any team because either Max is going to stay with Red Bull or I think he's just going to leave Formula 1. I don't really see him going to another. I guess he could go to another team, but I don't think he wants to. I think he's kind of good, you know? I think he's good. I think
Yeah.
he's fine not going anywhere else.
If you were Mercedes, I know you're a big Kimmy fan, but like, would you pick Kimmy over George long term?
No, but I feel like they've kind of backed themselves into a corner because I think Toto is seeing Kimi as their Max Verstappen. And he's good. He's very good. He's very young and he's racing at a really, really well at a really high level. But I think they're investing a lot into Kimi, and I feel like George is kind of falling by the wayside because of that.
Yeah, and I believe how similar to Mark Webber is like Oscar's like manager and stuff. I believe like Toto still like manages George or he's part of it, so it's like weird to be on both sides if you're Toto.
Hmm. Next
I
quick
could be
bit of
wrong on that, but
I
that's what I believe.
yeah, I don't know. It's Mercedes is frustrating me just with how much they're not trying to do to retain a really solid driver. George is a championship winning driver. He just
Yeah,
needs the tool to do it. And he's proving that he can do it. If he was in the 2021 Merc, I bet him and Lewis, it would be a three-way battle between him, Lewis, and Max.
I can see it.
Hmm. This next bit of news I found from 9 to 5 Mac. It's a podcast, but
Yes.
there's reports that Apple is hoping to announce the F1 streaming deal at Coda. Now, this is a thing that I feel very strongly about, and I'm very strongly against, unless we get to keep F1 TV in the US. ESPN at the end of this season is no longer going to have the US streaming rights to Formula One, which is why Apple, ESPN, a couple other places have been in a bidding war for it. And it seemed like Apple was for sure going to get it, but the main sticking point, the main reason it hasn't been announced yet so far, is because of the F1 TV thing. In the UK, for sure, and some other countries, F1 TV is just straight up blocked because of other places having the exclusive broadcasting rights to Formula One. But the problem is, if Apple does this, then they are not going to have the features of the F1 TV app that I love. And if the F1 TV app gets blocked in this country, I'm going to be very sad and upset. I love the F1 TV app. I will pay for the F1 TV app. And I have Apple, but that's not the point. The F1 TV app also has race archives, documentaries, specific special shows. There's a lot of really good content in F1 TV, and it doesn't cost that much money. Plus, if you want, I was actually kind of thinking about it, but I guess I'll hold off for now. They have the 4K tier now, and then you can do multi-view, multi-box while you're
Yes.
watching the race. That's awesome. And Apple probably won't integrate those same features, and that sucks. I think Apple getting the exclusive broadcasting rights would will do more damage. Also, ESPN is a little more accessible than Apple TV Plus is. I'm not saying that Apple TV Plus is hard to understand, but I think that I've heard about this with MLS, the Major League Soccer, where the second that the streaming rights went to Apple TV Plus, it felt like the growth just kind of halted because it was in the Apple ecosystem and it just felt so gated in. Whereas if it was with ESPN, there's opportunities to get to more eyeballs and it's just there.
Yeah. Um, the, I don't know. I would like to see both coexist, Apple and Formula One TV. The Formula One TV really, or F1 TV, they have been innovating this year and they have been making improvements because I use Chromecast, so I cast it from my phone to the TV, and I'm having some issues here and there, but like they have been improving quality and everything. For the multi-picture though, there's a free application. I highly recommend it to people. It's a multi-viewer, F1 multi-viewer.
Mm-hmm.
It is amazing. It has all the features of the paid Formula One TV or the higher tier. All you gotta do is pay for the subscription. You log in through that, and you could do multiple cameras, grid, and everything. And that's gonna suck if Apple takes that away, because I like using multi-viewer. I like having all the car onboards. I like making my computer look like I'm on the pit wall.
Mhm. It'll
I
suck,
like
but
making it seem like I'm gonna make these decisions, but no.
it'll suck. Like I said, it is just really how I fully feel about it just hinges on whether or not Apple is going to let us keep F1 TV. I really very badly want to keep F1 TV, and I will be sad if I lose it. I'm obviously going to keep watching the races. I'm just gonna have to watch them on Apple, I guess, which is whatever, but I don't want to if I don't have to, you know?
Yeah. And I'm not a huge if you don't mind this, like if for those watching on YouTube, I have an iMac behind me. I'm not a huge Apple guy just for the fact of there isn't a whole lot of innovation there. It's very closed off. I like
Mm,
open one of my I like software. My biggest thing is open source software.
mhm.
Nothing Apple is open source. Nothing is a thing. And I just feel like that can create problems, especially if Apple took that streaming service away to cause a lot of issues with the service itself.
The only time Apple isn't proprietary when there's a law literally telling them, "Hey, you can't be proprietary anymore. It's predatory and weird." And then they finally got
And
normal
they're like,
charging ports for them.
"Oh, yeah." Until they get rid of the charging ports, that makes everything wireless charging because wireless charging is so cool, even though it's less efficient.
Mhm. And
Hey,
on
they
that
brought back
note,
MagSafe.
on that note, that has been Formula Friday. If you ever have any questions or want to talk to us or you want to play chess with either of us, you can do that too. Send us an email at formulafridaypod@gmail.com. Um, Next week we're gonna talk about one of my favorite tracks, Coda, Circuit of the Americas. I cannot wait to preview this race because it means so much to me. And I cannot wait to talk about it with you and to see what other wacky things happen between now and next week. So until next time, I've been Nick. That's been Lewis.